schools were selected in the Major League Baseball draft. Randy Flores, a second baseman at Alabama State, was chosen in the 8th round by the Angels. Flores batted .338 this season with 20 homers and 98 RBIs. Canyon Brown, a catcher at North Carolina A&T, was chosen by the Kansas City Royals in the 9th round. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not doing serious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First Black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted Black and Brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. So my first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it going. I am laughing because I have just done the stupidest thing ever, which I'm not even going to share with you. That's how dumb it is. But it's all good now. And I can't even say I'm sleepy because I got my 8+ hours last night. Good morning. I hope you got some rest. We got to do it. Look, this show is called First Things First. And like I said, I start every morning giving thanks and giving praises to the Most High. And then we stir the pot. And typically, hour one, we look local. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person of interest or a hot topic. Today, me and Miles are the persons of interest and the hot topic. We're going to talk about Kenya, our trip there, and some international news that's actually impacting on the countries we just visited. And of course, you're welcome in, especially if you're one of the travelers, either literal or virtual. Hour two it's a Wealth Building Wednesday, so we will look at that and we'll talk about if you guys want to focus on the RNC, we can do that. Biden's plans to maybe change the Supreme Court, change the rules. We can talk about that. But hour one, it is going to be all, well, as they say, live and local. And I am really, really excited because my friend and colleague is joining me today, and it's not every day I can get her away from her 42 other jobs to join me on the air. She's a Generation X award-winning journalist and on-air contributor. She is a campaign strategist, and she's got bylines, appearances, producer credits, and she is also now an elected official. Jasmyne Cannick, good morning.
Hey, Dominique, how are you? Good morning. Good morning, KBLA fam. And Miles. Hey, Miles.
Yeah, he's waving. We don't even have the jet lag excuse anymore, but mornings be morninging. So, how does it feel? I know this isn't your first rodeo, but you're now a member of the LA County Democratic Party Central Committee, right?
I am. So this is my second go-round. I ran in 2020. Thank you very much for everybody who voted for me then. And thank you for everybody who voted for me this year.
You're welcome.
Brought me in thank you. I was number one. But this is an exciting time, Dominique, because for the first time, I feel like people are actually paying attention to the delegates because of what's going on with the presidential election. And they're now understanding the role that delegates play, why you have to elect them, not just at the DNC level, but also why we have to vote on them at the county level, right, the local level. Especially with the war, right? Because folks have set strong opinions about the war and were directing their anger towards other offices, other elected officials, we want the party to, tell Biden to do this, to do that. And it's like, oh, wait, but you need to be talking to the delegates because those are the people who actually vote on what the party's platform and position is. And now it's actually clicking for folks oh, okay. And so it was really exciting this time around to run and to also help other people run. I'm not one of the people that's going to sit there and be like, oh, no, I'm not going to tell you how to run. I mean, it's 7 people get elected from each of the assembly districts in LA County. So it was really nice to see other folks run, folks under 50, folks under 40, folks under 30 run.
Black
but
people.
I got to tell you, yeah, well, when I got sworn in 2 weeks ago, we got sworn in on July 1st. I looked around the room. Wasn't that diverse?
No.
But we got work to do.
Right, but a couple of
and I'll be there.
A couple of black folks did get elected, right?
No, absolutely. But let's do the math, right? You
Yeah.
have 20-something assembly districts, and 7 people got elected from each of those assembly districts, right?
Right.
For the most part. And so those are the people, for the most part, that make up the party. So when I looked around the room, we got sworn in the Board of Supervisors meeting room, which is a pretty large room for folks who have been in it. And I just was kind of like, okay. But in my district, the 55th, shout out to Leimert Park, West Adams, Jefferson Park, Culver City, Crenshaw, whoop-de-whoop, mid-city, that's, us or whatever. We have, I think, I want to say about 4 or 5 people who, out of the 7 who got elected who are black.
Yeah.
So, So that was really good. But yeah, so I'm excited not for the first time, but in a long time. I just feel like folks are really challenging, questioning, pushing their party and not blindly voting the way they're told to vote within the party, and pushing back against, the status quo. And I think that that's really interesting. But yeah, so people are like, oh, we're going to run for city council or this or that. I'm like, look, I'm happy where I'm at for right now. And I'm happy to do the work and also talk about it, right? So that's part of the issue. Once folks get to become delegates, it's like it's some closed group and nobody wants to talk about what the party is doing. I will tell everything because the voters elected us and they should know what their party is doing on their behalf.
Yeah, I'm laughing for several reasons. First of all, I heard the good where I am for now, which means, which is appropriate. You're building your political experience, I guess, as an elected. But also, when you said tell it all, it reminded me of our beloved departed friend, Bobby Jean Anderson, because she was kind of similar. Like, I'm going to be in these circles, and then I'm going to come on front page and first things first, and wherever I can, and tell it.
Yes, one of the greatest mentors a person like me could have. I'm so happy that Miss Bobby Jean was a part of my life for the time that we had her here.
Yeah.
And you are exactly right. That is one of the things. And, I tell people all the time, don't look for me to be on those special committees. They don't like me. So I don't get special, because they have to know how you're going to vote and that you're going to do what you're told. So I don't get those assignments, right? I don't get to be on the posh committees and stuff.
Look, if I needed someone to do what they were told, I wouldn't be picking you either.
But yeah, no, it's fun and it's great, and I'm grateful for all of the folks that voted for me. I think in the end, Dominique, I ended up coming out with, like, I'm actually going to pull the number up because I was so proud of myself. 22,785 votes. Thank you, Los Angeles.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, we're laughing.
For a position people don't even pay attention to.
I mean, especially when you look at a lot of these city council races, they're literally won by, thousands of votes, not hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
No, hundreds of votes. Like, I love the city of Compton. Shout out to Compton. Home will always be home to me. I love Compton, but I have literally watched elections in Compton where 300 people came out to vote in a district. 700 people came out to vote in a district, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but luckily we run by assembly district for County Central Committee, which is a pretty wide area. I think you heard me mention Culver City in addition to Los Angeles neighborhoods. So, assembly districts oftentimes will have more than one city in them, and that gives you a lot more folks who are voting. So that's one of the reasons why the number is so large. But, look, folks can go look at election results for County Central Committee, and in some districts see that, only 2,000 people voted or 5,000 people.
Wow.
Remember, we vote down ticket, right, Dominique? Mm-hmm. You got to remember to vote. So all of that comes into play. And I will say, shout out to my mayor, Karen Bass, for her endorsement.
Yeah,
Woo-woo.
that was sweet.
And council member Heather Hutt. Woo-woo. I didn't go out there trying to get a lot of endorsements. I spent most of my time just trying to educate people to make sure that they voted wherever they lived for County Central Committee members. But it was really nice to have the support of those two women.
So when you talk about how much, these positions, the delegates are so impactful now, break it down like I was 8 years old, because everyone's watching the RNC this week, and I don't know that we connect the dots to the local parties.
Right. So those people throwing the confetti, doing the flags and stuff are the delegates, right? So just like mostly every party elects their delegates. So the Republicans elect delegates. You would never see those candidates on your ballot unless you're a Republican, right? Democratic Party folks do the same. Green Party does the same. But the delegates are the ones that get to vote on the platform of the party, who the party endorses, the position of the party, when there are resolutions, for example, around the war or around gun violence or whatever issue. It is the delegates that get to make that vote. It's the delegates that put the pressure also on people like President Biden and other folks in office. So it's always important to make sure that you're electing delegates who share your values, share, your vision for the party as well. I tell people all the time, I'm not happy with the Democratic Party, but I get to complain about the Democrats because I am one, but I also get to be a part of the solution, right? Because I ran to be more than just, a voter, right? Because you don't have a voice and a vote in the party just as a registered Democrat. You really have to be a delegate. And we elect delegates in this country. We have delegates at the local level, state level, and of course, at the federal level with the DNC. And as many folks know, that convention is coming up. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Like, who
before
will
that
our
happens.
candidate be? I mean, for example, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of times, don't people move up? I know Bobby Jean Anderson, our dear friend, did that. Started as a county delegate and kind of moved up to be a state and federal delegate.
Yep. Yeah, you can. You can you can do it all at once if you wanted to. You can run for county central committee. You can put yourself out there for the DNC. You can also be an ADEM, an assembly at the assembly level. It's just up to you to get involved. And I tell people all the time, the best way to get involved, besides just being a registered Democrat, is to join a Democratic club. We have the Black Women's Democratic Club. Shout out to them here in Los Angeles. We have the Stonewall Democratic Club, which I sit on the board of. There's the Martin Luther King Democratic Club, the South LA Democratic Club. There are all these Democratic clubs, no matter where you live. No, they have Democratic clubs for people who love pets. Okay, there is a Democratic club for,
I didn't know that.
And I'm not even joking.
I didn't know
do.
that, though. That's wild. Maybe I should join that one.
And they make endorsements. And they make endorsements. They have clubs for everyone. There are a lot of young Democratic clubs, right? So if you're under 35, for example, the Black Los Angeles Young Democratic Club, right? Blade. There are all these different clubs, and I tell people that's a really great place to start, to get your feet wet, and then to get more involved from there, whether that's running as a delegate, working for an elected, running for a higher office. It's really great to start out. You can belong to more than one club. I do.
Yeah, I know you do. I don't know which all ones you belong to besides Stonewall, but I know it's more than one. And come election season, all of those clubs are hearing from candidates who are looking for endorsements. Yeah.
Yeah, we're hearing from them right now because, folks who made it through the March primary with an opponent are in runoffs, right?
Yep.
And so some clubs endorsed a candidate that didn't make it through, so they had to start the process all over with the two that made it. Some folks endorsed candidate, made it through, and now we're pushing that candidate to help them get across the finish line in November. But either way it goes, it's just a great way to really just get involved with other folks. There's a progressive Democratic club. There are just so many different clubs in LA County. I mean, you can go to the LA County Democratic Party website. You can go to my website. I put a link directly to the clubs on voteforjasmyne.com because I really am always trying to encourage people to get more involved, because it's one thing to sit around, Dominique, as you know, which we can do, and complain about things, but it's another thing to step up and say, hey, I want to be a part of, turning things around or pushing things in a different direction.
And generation. Of course.
And I know that's like a Freudian slip, right?
Yeah. And of course, I think you can, you're allowed to do both. You can sit around and complain and join a club or be a delegate.
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I complain, I write about it, I talk about it, and I participate in trying to make things different.
Love that. You're invited into this conversation, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Jasmyne Cannick here with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops. I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Just a few short months ago, California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed 11 felony charges against Diana Taran, an assistant district attorney for Los Angeles County. The charges allege that Taran unlawfully accessed confidential computer data, including police officer files in 2018, and continued to use them after joining the DA's office in 2021. Ironically, Taran, who is now on administrative leave, oversaw the Public Integrity Division responsible for handling high-profile cases of police misconduct and public corruption, including the charges brought against LA City Council member Karen Price last June. To be sure, the case against Price has raised plenty of eyebrows. Indeed, one noted legal scholar has said publicly, and I quote, "Everything about this prosecution reeks," close quote. Could AG Bonta, with aspirations to become California governor, be punishing Taran for her role in DA George Gascon's police accountability agenda to curry favor with police unions? Could DA Gascon be using the case against Price to showcase his tough stance on crime and political corruption as he vies to retain his seat as DA? Honestly, I have no idea, but here's what I know for sure. Karen Price has been elected and re-elected by thousands of voters, mostly black and brown, who stand to be further disenfranchised if this matter is not handled correctly, which is why it matters to us at KBLA Talk 1580. When the prosecutor is being prosecuted, it seems to me that at the very least, there ought to be a thorough, top-to-bottom, independent review of all cases under Diana Taran's purview to ensure that none of these cases have been tainted. Justice and fundamental fairness demand no less, if public trust truly matters. And I hope it does. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your feedback.
Hey guys, do you want male performance in the bedroom and do you want it now? Get it in 47 seconds or less. For the first time, you can have instant male enhancement. Introducing Nox 47, the topical male enhancement that works in 47 seconds or less. Satisfaction guaranteed. Finally, after years of scientific research, our proprietary formula will allow you to perform in the bedroom like never before. Just imagine that little blue pill on steroids. No reason to settle and wait when you can get instant performance now. Forget about pills and potions that make you wait hours or up to 30 days to work. That's yesterday's news. Nox 47 is brand new. The hottest thing for men. And you don't need a prescription. Call now and get your free supply for a limited time.
To find out how to get Nox 47 for free, call now. 800-617-1621. That's 800-617-1621. Free bottles for limited time. Call 800-617-1621. That's 800-617-1621.
As part of summer's greatest hits, it's the first ever Macy's All-Star Week. Join us for an incredible lineup of live events in store every day, like fashion shows, beauty demos, and more fun for the family. Now through Tuesday, July 23rd. Plus, shop our best summer deals, like 50% off swim, sandals, and more. And exclusives just for Star Rewards members. You don't want to miss this. Go to Macys.com/events to see what's at your local store. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now. So in case I forgot to let you know, we have a whole thing going on. We're streaming on YouTube at KBLA 1580. There's a chat situation, and you're welcome to join in, do some fellowship. You can multitask. Right now, talking with Jasmyne Cannick, and she is a member of the Central Committee. I love the way you simplify it and say delegate. It's like, what is the LA County Central Committee? Blah, 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 blah. So if you want to find out about the clubs, it's go to your website. It's Jasmine with a Y. I am
Vote for Jasmine.
Vote for Jasmine. I'm still on.
Yeah,
Hello,
I am Jasmine. My personal one.
Vote for Jasmine.
That's my personal one.
Vote for Jasmine.com. It's Jasmine, Jasmyne. You can find out, or lacdp.org, I think it is, the LA County Democratic Party website.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of, first things first, this past Saturday was South LA Pride. And we have been having some rather heated discussions on First Things First. I've had some people call in with some really anti-LGBTQ plus attitudes, some older Black adults. And so as a result, I have been really advertising South LA Pride as kind of my clapback. So how was it?
It was amazing. It was the most beautiful day. I just want to shout out everyone who had something to do with that. I think it was absolutely amazing. This year, we moved it into the Jackie Robinson Stadium at Rancho, a.k.a. the Michelle and Barack Obama Sports Complex. So it was just, aesthetically, it was just absolutely gorgeous. Shout out to Project Pitt for the production on that. But yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And for me, I just love the fact that this was the 6th year. Shout out to Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson and Heather Hutt for making it happen. I just love that people are able to not, when we go to West Hollywood, sometimes we have to leave our Blackness across the border in LA. And then when we around our peeps in LA, sometimes we have to walk a certain way or talk a certain way to not have to deal with certain stuff, right? And so I just love that there's this space created by this phenomenal planning committee of folks right out of South LA. About 35 folks worked around the table with me this year to make it happen. That just was, come and be all of who you are, which was reflected in the theme, It's Giving. I know you hear that all the time. It's giving this, it's giving that. Well, it gave community and it gave everything to a lot of folks. Families came, young adults came, just folks from all over came. And it was just beautiful. I just want to shout out the artists that performed. The committee was intentional on centering artists who were from our community, artists who were queer. It's South LA Pride, not Black Pride. So, it was definitely a BIPOC event with, Black and Indigenous and other people of color. I could hear someone saying BIPOC. And so it included, a whole bunch of folks out of South LA. It was headlined by Jay Rondell, who is a phenomenal R&B artist that folks should check out. And I just want to say it was great. I loved it. I had a great time. Mayor Karen Bass came through and gave us greetings. Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson was there. Heather Hutt was there. I want to shout out our caterer because I probably gained 5 pounds when I should have been going in the opposite direction. So shout out to Katrina and Kay Michelle and her staff and the volunteers. But it was really, really a great testament to what can happen when the community comes together and works together and says, this in 2024 is what is reflective of our community. This is who we want to see on the stage, what we want to see happen. And I'm looking forward to 2025. And I'm just so grateful again that the mayor and having council members Marquise Harris Dawson and Heather had support to make this happen. Because every community, if you notice, Dominique, right, it used to just be West Hollywood, right? But now you got East LA Pride, Valley Pride, South LA Pride. We've had Black Pride for over, I think, about 30 years now. There's, a Latino Pride. Yep. There are these different Pride celebrations. And I try to remind people, and you haters, put your ears particularly close to your radio or your phone or your computer. We have these Pride celebrations outside of June because traditionally Black folks who would go to West Hollywood for Pride were usually only used for entertainment, were not necessarily welcomed, felt some kind of way, were treated some kind of way at the venues. So lots of folks came together about 30 years ago to create At the Beach LA Black Pride.
Okay, hold that thought, Jazz. I got to get right to news, traffic, and sports. That's a cliffhanger. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is responding to suggestions that the culture of the New York Fire Department is driving out its first female commissioner after less than 2 years on the job. While fielding questions from the media, Adams, who is Black, was asked if Laura Kavanaugh hasn't received the support she needs. He says to ask that without asking the same of men when they leave his administration is sexist. Adams also praised Kavanaugh for shaking up the department, which has seen an increase in female members since she came on. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott says it's a miracle Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt on Saturday. While addressing the crowd at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Scott, who is Black, said a, quote, devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back on his feet, end quote. Scott also railed against President Biden, claiming Biden is asleep at the wheel. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The sports world is mourning the loss of Joe Jellybean Bryant, father of Lakers legend Kobe Bryant. Kobe's father passed away Tuesday morning. He was 69. A cause of death was not released. Joe Bryant had been in poor health recently after suffering a stroke. Bryant played 3 of his 8 NBA seasons with the Clippers when they played in San Diego. Bryant, a Philadelphia native, also played with the Sixers and Houston Rockets. Kobe was born in Italy in 1978 when Joe was playing in the country after leaving the NBA. 2 players from HBCU schools were selected in the Major League Baseball draft. Randy Flores, a second baseman at Alabama State, was chosen in the 8th round by the Angels. Flores batted .338 this season with 20 homers and 98 RBIs. Canyon Brown, a catcher at North Carolina A&T, was chosen by the Kansas City Royals in the 9th round. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Finding a path to a meaningful career, one where you're making an impact and making enough money, it can be tough. There's one path, though, that many young adults are landing on that leads them to careers where they can work outdoors, protect our environment, take on climate change, and get paid while they train. It's the California Conservation Corps. You just have to be 18 through 25 years old to enroll, or a U.S. military veteran through age 29, and you have to be a California resident. That's it. There's no education requirement, no employment history needed. Some Corps members need to finish up high school. Others are college grads. But during their 1 year of service, all CCC Corps members can earn the work experience and certifications needed to become a wildland firefighter, forestry technician, install solar, or build trails in our state parks. Learn how you can enroll at ccc.ca.gov. Do this for you. Become the person you want to be through the California Conservation Corps.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Sorry about that cliffhanger, folks. Talking with Jasmyne Cannick, who is a delegate, a journalist, an advocate, and a Democratic campaign strategist. And we're talking about South LA Pride and just how I've asked you this before on the air, but a lot of people wonder why these Pride celebrations, as you point out, happen outside of June. And you were talking about At the Beach, which is one of the first parties I ever went to when I came to LA. It was kind of one of my welcome to LA parties, and explaining what that was and the genesis of it.
Yeah, shout out to, and rest in peace, Dwayne Bremont and all of the folks who founded ATB. But yeah, it's because, like I was saying before the break, everything's all cool under the rainbow, and diversity has always been an issue in the LGBTQ plus community. And so a lot of communities around the country started prides outside of June. Black Pride in DC has traditionally been Memorial Day weekend. It's Labor Day weekend in Atlanta. It's 4th of July weekend in LA.
Wow.
So yeah, and you have Latino Pride celebrations. You have, API Pride celebrations. You have these different Pride celebrations intentionally outside of June. Because I know people were saying to me, why isn't it in June? Everything doesn't have to be in June. They can have that. They can have that, and we have it in July. And it was a beautiful event. And for people who came up to me and just talked about just being able to be in their own community, wearing pink or wearing this, or just, being able to be themselves in that space, it made it all worth it. Absolutely.
And maybe this is the new home for South LA Pride. I know it's moved around various locations, but the Michelle and Barack Obama Center seems centrally located and convenient. I'm so sorry I missed it this year. It sounds like it was really good.
It was. This was our second year there, and just by happenstance, the softball field area that we're usually on was being worked on. So they had to move us into the Jackie Robinson Stadium. And that actually ended up being a much better venue. For folks that know that park, it is huge. That's where I play tennis at. Shout out to Rancho. But, that park is humongous. And it was just a great space. They had a volleyball tournament going on at the same time and softball games. There was all kinds of stuff going on. And then you had South LA Pride also happening. So I think the event's going to continue to grow larger and larger, particularly as more and more folks from the community come and sit around the table, with the commitment from Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson and Heather Hutt. I just see it continuing to grow. And I do want to shout out that Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez came through as well as the city attorney, Heidi Feldstein Soto. So we had a lot of city support, and it was really great.
Yeah, well, congrats. Congrats on year 6.
Thank
That's
you.
great. Not easy to keep anything going for 6 years in LA, but more on that later. So you mentioned kind of endorsement season, right? Where, where you're a member of several of these Democratic clubs, and folks are coming through looking for that support, especially, I imagine, from Black clubs at this point. And we do have a couple of pretty, runoffs that are pretty key for Black community in particular, but I would say for progressives in general. One of them is the council member for CD10, which is the incumbent Heather Hutt. Everybody remembers the drama with that. And now she's in a runoff, and it's against Grace Yu, and it's pretty, this could be a pretty tight race, right?
It won't be a tight race if all of KBLA's listeners get out there and make sure to vote. Full disclosure, I'm a consultant on Heather's campaign, but I am also a resident of the 10th district, and I did work for Herb Wesson, so I really do know this district. I live here, I work here. Look, it's an important race for many different reasons. You know, Councilmember Heather has hit the ground running. She's shown herself to be an effective leader, an effective council member. I do say this because it's important to me. She is the only Black woman on the LA City Council since we've had my beloved good girlfriend, Jan Perry.
And that's been a while, man. It's been, that means, okay, what is that, 10 years or something? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been quite, you would think we've had more, but we have not. And so I love the fact that we do have a Black woman on the city council. I think in terms of leadership styles, her opposition, Grace Yu, is more on the conservative end, and is very, very opposite of what most progressives want to see in leaders. So it's going to be important that even if you are disillusioned, upset with, mad about, you know, President Biden being on the ticket, that you still come out and vote, because we have all of these other very critical races that require us to show up and be present for. And the race in CD10 is absolutely important. If you're sitting at home wondering, do I live in Council District 10? You know, do you live by the 10 freeway? Do you live in Leimert Park, Baldwin Village, you know, Mid-City, West Adams, Jefferson Park? If any of these neighborhoods sound familiar to you, you live in the 10th district.
I mean, I'm a 10th district resident, and we've been through a roller coaster ride, right, in the past few years.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting you say Grace Yu you would put her on the conservative side, because I know she has presented herself as a progressive. Her bio says she's a community advocate. She's an attorney. She ran against Mark Ridley Thomas and lost, but it was tight. She gave him a run for his money. And so it's interesting that you say you don't see her as being progressive at all.
I do not. Even if I wasn't working on Heather's campaign, just as a resident, I would tell you I do not see her as being progressive at all. I see a lot of the folks who now people have to understand that your local races are nonpartisan, because we all got to live in the same neighborhood, right? You got Republicans living next door to Democrats, et cetera, right? So when you elect council members, we don't elect by party, right? And so when I look at Grace and I look at the people who are supporting her, they tend to be more on the conservative side. Folks who are like no party preference, a lot of Republicans, a lot of anti-establishment folks. But just, again, like I tell people all the time, you don't have to wait to run to be a leader in your community. There's nothing stopping you from getting out there and helping your community. You don't have to always do it as an elected official. So I like to see a history, a long track record of people doing work, positive work, good work, not working against the homeless, but maybe working for the unhoused in our community. And a lot of times we have candidates that pop up on the scene and they have all these great ideas about things they want to do. And I'm always like, well, you could have been working on this and doing all this stuff before you decided to run for office. I don't get that from Grace. You know, I'm Team Hut all the way. I will continue to be Team Hut. I think that she has shown herself to be an effective leader. And shout out to the CD10 team, because folks in CD10, like you said, there was a lot of turmoil with the back and forth, but the staff kept things running and kept things moving for the residents, kept making sure the trees got trimmed, the streets got clean. cleaning up the trash, working with the mayor's office to make sure that the Inside Safe programs are also taking place in CD10. A lot of times the elected officials get all the glory, but I am a staffer, will always be a staffer, so I give a lot of deference and praise to staffers because I know what happens behind the scenes. And that's one of the things I love about Councilwoman Hutt. She was a staffer too, and she gets that. She's always bigging up her staff.
Well, I mean, I'll be fair. I'm always fair when I interview people. I take off my, my talk radio hat and put on my news lady hat. But, I plan to vote for Heather Hutt. But I'm looking at this, her endorsements. She puts Bobby Jean Anderson on as an endorser, which is kind of different since Miss Bobby Jean is no longer with us. And also Bobby Jean, as amazing as she is and was as a mentor to people like you and me, she was always a little bit more on the conservative side for me, as far as, we didn't always see eye to eye on every issue. It was more just her spirit and her commitment. But there's other folks on here, that make it, Bernard Parks Jr., not exactly, the progressive wing of the Black community, but certainly an African-American endorsement nonetheless. Melvin Snell, she has. So, I know now it's fashionable for everyone to call themselves a progressive in LA, even if they're just saying that. But
right.
Certainly, I call them progressive posers. But she does have some names on here that are Janethia Hudley Hayes, Jackie Goldberg.
Well, now go look at our list. Now go look at Heather Hutt's endorsement list, which is drastically different from Grace's, right? Not just because we got more endorsements, but we have the endorsements from people who people know in our
like
community.
Dr. Melina Abdul,
Dr. Melina, exactly.
Jimmy Woods Gray, Pastor Eddie Anderson, and that's interesting. You got Danny Bakewell Sr. and Dr. Melina Abdullah and Cheryl Turner. That's quite a range, I'll say.
Yes, and look at all the Democratic clubs and political organizations and community organizations and elected officials. Elected officials endorsing elected officials, but community organizations and community leaders standing up and saying, this is the person who we're supporting, that's really, really important. And those are names that people know.
Well, she has looks like pretty much all of labor at this point. She's got, IATSE, IBW, about a couple IBW, LWU, SEIU, several locals there. She's got the LA County Fed. So she's done really well. It would take me too long. But as far as electeds, we're talking Heather Hutt now. She has Mayor Karen Bass, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, and lots more. Marquise Harris Dawson, Herb Wesson, Eunice Hernandez, Hugo Soto Martinez. If you talk about the so-called progressives in our government, city government, she's got those. Nithya Raman, and then she's got a nice lineup. I guess her fellow council members have pretty much stepped forward for her. Well, we're talking with Jasmyne Cannick, and you're welcome to weigh in at 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically progressive, not the poser kind, the real kind. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Are you a small business struggling with the rising cost of healthcare for your employees? Are you considering offering healthcare benefits to your employees? It's a complex issue and can be difficult to understand and navigate. Chase Bank is here to help. Join us Wednesday, July 17th at the Chase Crenshaw Community Center to learn from experts from Covered California and answer questions about health benefits options for your business. Experts will discuss tax credits, the California health insurance market, and new options for small businesses. For more information and to register, stop by the Crenshaw Community Center or call 323-299-2641. Again, 323-299-2641. Chase Bank is here to help.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% plus finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
With reported hate crimes rising in recent years, California has responded through outreach efforts across state government and in collaboration with community-based organizations for the launch of CA versus Hate. This non-emergency, multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline provides an anonymous reporting option for victims and witnesses of hate acts reported in 15 different languages through the online portal and in over 200 languages when calling the hotline. Report anonymously by calling 833-866-4283, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or online at any time at cavshate.org.
Help prevent gun violence tragedies. Gun violence restraining orders can help to prevent individuals at risk of harming themselves or others by removing their guns for 21 days up to 5 years. Learn more about how to petition for a GVRO and the role of GVROs in safeguarding communities by visiting lacountygvro.org or by calling 1-833-540-0473. GVROs can save lives.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and the time goes way too fast. We got a long list of things we still need to talk about, so let's do the short version, shall we? Speaking of those races, Jasmyne Cannick that are asking around for endorsements and off into runoffs, Isabel Jurado versus Kevin De Leon is of particular interest to Black LA, isn't it?
It is, and he not like us. So he got to go, and I have been supporting Isabel through fundraisers and talking about her every chance I get. She's an impressive young lady, and it is definitely time for Los Angeles to give KDL the boot. I mean, the audacity to even run again, the audacity to think that you could do a couple of things, find some Black folk to stand with you, and it's going to be all good, and we're going to forget everything. I mean, he is just, oh, God, he is so conceited and so stuck on himself, and it is time for L.A. to give him his walking papers and to help him move along. And the only way that that's going to happen is if people in CD14 get out there and vote. And what you do for the people who don't live in CD14, you don't live in downtown LA or in other parts of that district, you volunteer for Isabel. You give money to Isabel. You tell the voters in that district that you know to vote for Isabel. That is what your role is. You don't have to live in someone's district to support them. There are many other ways to do that. But I think keeping Kevin De Leon on the city council continues to amplify the message that, one, Black people don't matter in this city, that there are enough folks in this city who don't care about what happened in October 2022 and are willing, have short memories and are willing to just let it go. And we cannot do that. We have to send a message.
Yeah, I think
I'm looking forward to him going.
I think so too. I think it's really, really important we keep talking about it, because as we see, he's back on his committees. Paul Krikorian put Kevin De Leon back on committees. To me, that's a move towards normalizing the rabid anti-Blackness and the anti-Blackness that he continues as a low-key campaign strategy.
Yes and no. It's also a move to make him work. All the time he was not on committees, he didn't have any meetings, and he didn't actually have to work. And that gave him a lot of time to do campaigning and a lot of other things.
Interesting take. Interesting take, Jasmine.
Yeah. So there's
okay. So maybe he needs to be on every committee then.
Except the unhoused committee.
Oh yeah. Okay, and we're gonna have to do a whole show on this, but how do you see the race shaping up right now between the challenger, Nathan Hochman, and our district attorney, our progressive DA, George Gascon?
Well, that's going to be the race to watch and the one to get involved with. And I would just say that, you and me, Dominique, don't always agree on when it comes to the DA and crime and all that good stuff, or all that bad stuff. But I will say, for those of us who want to see Gascon stay in office, it's going to be incumbent on us to vote and to get out there and to volunteer and to make sure. Because you have to imagine, remember, he had 9 or 10 competitors, right? Now, nearly all of those folks have moved over to Nathan Hochman, including Jackie Lacey, who has reared herself, made herself public again to endorse Nathan Hochman. And so Gascon is in the fight of his life. And if we want to move forward, even if we have to do some course correction in the process, but keep moving forward, we need to keep Gascon in place. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we make it happen. He is in the fight of his life. I think that is locally right behind the KDL race. That is the race that I think is one of the most critical races for LA County.
Yeah, we agree on that. I mean, imagine, I don't think Trump is a shoo-in just because someone shot at him. And, I'm glad they missed.
Allegedly.
I don't think he's a shoo-in. But imagine if he does win and we have a Nathan Hochman. It'll be roundup, Black folks season. And I'm not, this is not hyperbole. It is what it is. Good point about Jackie Lacey coming back. We don't have time for all this, but you're getting a lot of love in the chat. I'm sure you're seeing it. And Jamal Hakeem wanted to know what your thoughts are about the Electoral College.
We don't have time for
that. We don't. Okay, we'll have to do part 2. But look, he also says he used to live in the 10th district, and Grace is an undercover Republican. More on that later. Jasmine,
he said that.
That's what Jamal Hakeem said. Yeah, Jamal, you'll have to wait for her thoughts on the Electoral College. But what do you want to leave us with this morning, Jasmine?
I want to leave y'all with have a great day, have a wonderful day, be grateful, be nice to each other, and just thank you, Dominique, for having me on. Thank you, Miles, for being on the board and always being that first voice I hear in the morning when I call in. And just thank you. Just gratitude. I try to wake up like you, Dominique, right? Every day with gratitude. If folks want to follow me, I'm at Hello Jasmine on Instagram, Jasmine on Facebook, and my website is I Am Jasmine, Jasmyne. But this was a great conversation, a great way to start the morning and the day. So thank you.
Appreciate you, Jasmyne Cannick. Wealth Building Wednesday is next. Find out about things going on in our business life. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is responding to suggestions that the culture of the New York Fire Department is driving out its first female commissioner after less than 2 years on the job. While fielding questions from the media, Adams, who is black, was asked if Laura Kavanaugh hasn't received the support she needs. He says to ask that without asking the same of men when they leave his administration is sexist. Adams also praised Kavanaugh for shaking up the department, which has seen an increase in female members since she came on. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott says it's a miracle Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt on Saturday. While addressing the crowd at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Scott, who was black, said a, quote, devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back on his feet, end quote. Scott also railed against President Biden, claiming Biden is asleep at the wheel. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The sports world is mourning the loss of Joe Jellybean Bryant, father of Lakers legend Kobe Bryant. Kobe's father passed away Tuesday morning. He was 69. A cause of death was not released. Joe Bryant had been in poor health recently after suffering a stroke. Bryant played 3 of his 8 NBA seasons with the Clippers when they played in San Diego. Bryant, a Philadelphia native, also played with the Sixers and Houston Rockets. Kobe was born in Italy in 1978 when Joe was playing in the country after leaving the NBA. 2 players from HBCU schools were selected in the Major League Baseball draft. Randy Flores, a second baseman at Alabama State, was chosen in the 8th round by the Angels. Flores batted .338 this season with 20 homers and 98 RBIs. Canyon Brown, a catcher at North Carolina A&T, was chosen by the Kansas City Royals in the 9th round. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice team today at advertising at KBLA team today at advertising at KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you